The AKM is the most produced assault rifle variant in history, over 100 million made, proven in every climate and conflict for 60 years. In 1974, the Soviet Union replaced it. Why would you abandon the most successful rifle ever made? The answer reveals how Soviet military thinking evolved and what they learned from Vietnam, Afghanistan, and modern warfare. The AKM, introduced in 1959 as a modernized and lightened version of the original AK-47, chambered in 7.62 by 39 mm, 30-round magazine, weighs 7.9 pounds loaded. It became the most produced assault rifle variant in history, with over 100 million manufactured across dozens of countries. The AK-74, introduced in 1974 as a completely redesigned generation, chambered in 5.45 by 39 mm, an entirely new cartridge, 30-round magazine in a different caliber, weighs 7.5 pounds loaded. It has been the Russian military standard since 1974 and remains so today. The question is simple: why replace the AKM when it was working perfectly? The answer lies in what changed between 1959 and 1974. The Soviet military studied the Vietnam War intensively. They observed US M16 combat performance and drew conclusions that contradicted their own doctrine. Small caliber rifles worked in combat. The M16 was effective despite Soviet assumptions that intermediate cartridges needed to be larger. Lighter ammunition meant soldiers carried more rounds. American troops could carry 300 rounds of 5.56 mm versus 180 rounds of 7.62 mm for the same weight. The accuracy advantage at range was noticeable. The M16 was hitting targets at distances where AKMs struggled. Soviet troops fighting along the Afghanistan border in the early 1970s reported issues. Combat was occurring at 300 to 400 meters and beyond in mountain terrain. AKM accuracy dropped significantly beyond 300 meters. Open terrain exposed the AKM's limitations. Mountain warfare required flatter trajectory for easier range estimation. The heavy 7.62 by 39 mm round dropped considerably at distance. Warsaw-packed military exercises throughout the 1960s and early 1970s studied full automatic fire. The results were troubling. Hit probability with the AKM on full auto was extremely low. Controllability was a major factor in effective fire. Heavy recoil meant wasted ammunition. Most rounds fired on full auto missed completely. The Soviet military recognized the need for more accurate automatic fire. This represented a doctrinal shift. In the 1950s and 60s, spray and pray tactics were acceptable. Volume of fire mattered more than precision. By the 1970s, emphasis shifted to marksmanship and ammunition efficiency. Lessons from combined arms exercises showed that modern warfare required precision. Wasting ammunition was no longer acceptable when logistics were strained. The design philosophy between the two rifles reflects this evolution. The AKM philosophy from 1959 prioritized ruggedness above all else. Stopping power per shot was critical. Operation had to be simple and foolproof. The design assumed the worst case: no maintenance and an abusive user. It was designed for an illiterate conscript who might never clean it. The AK-74 philosophy from 1974 maintained ruggedness but added accuracy. Effectiveness over raw power became the goal. Controllability mattered for better hit probability. The rifle was designed for a trained infantryman, not the lowest common denominator. This wasn't abandoning simplicity, it was adding refinement to a proven system. The shooting experience reveals the practical differences. Recoil comparison is stark. The AKM has a heavy recoil impulse. It kicks hard. The AK-74 has a noticeably softer recoil, approximately 40% less felt recoil according to shooters who fired both. On full automatic, the difference is dramatic. The AK-74 is actually controllable. You can keep rounds on target. The AKM climbs violently. After the first few rounds, you're shooting at the sky. Accuracy measurements show improvement. The AKM typically achieves 4 to 6 minutes of angle. The AK-74 achieves 2 to 4 minutes of angle. In real-world terms, the AK-74 hits at 400 meters, where the AKM struggles at 350 meters. This doesn't sound like much, but in open terrain, that extra 50 to 100 meters of effective range matters enormously. The muzzle brake design explains much of the recoil difference. The AKM uses a simple slant brake, an angled cut on the muzzle that has minimal effect on recoil. The AK-74 uses a cage-style brake that looks like a bird cage. It's highly effective at reducing felt recoil and muzzle climb. The difference is visible when firing. The AK-74's muzzle barely moves. The AKM jumps noticeably. Ergonomically, both rifles share the same manual of arms. Training continuity was important to Soviet planners. A soldier trained on the AKM could use the AK-74 immediately. The controls are identical: safety lever, magazine release, charging handle. The AK-74 is slightly lighter and better balanced due to the lighter barrel and smaller cartridge, but the handling is familiar. Reliability is where both rifles excel. The AKM's reputation is legendary. It survives anything: mud, sand, snow, complete neglect. The loose tolerances mean dirt doesn't matter. It became the standard against which all other rifles are measured. You can bury it in mud, rinse it in a river, and it still fires. The AK-74's reliability equals the AKM. It uses the same design philosophy. The tolerances are slightly tighter but still extremely loose by Western standards. It uses the same stamped receiver and the same gas system. The proof came in combat. Afghanistan from 1979 to 1989 and Chechnya from 1994 to 2009 showed the AK-74 worked flawlessly under the harshest conditions. Maintenance requirements are minimal for both. Field stripping is an identical process. Cleaning is rarely necessary for function. Soviet doctrine assumed no cleaning and designed rifles that still work. This wasn't laziness, it was practical recognition that soldiers in combat don't always have time or resources for maintenance. Durability is comparable. The AKM's lifespan is over 50,000 rounds. The AK-74 achieves 30,000 to 50,000 rounds depending on use. Both outlast most rifles globally. When barrels finally wear out, they're easily replaced. Combat effectiveness is where doctrine meets reality. The AKM's combat record is extensive. Vietnamese forces used it throughout the Vietnam War with great effectiveness in jungle warfare. Middle Eastern conflicts from the 1960s onward saw the AKM as the dominant infantry rifle. African conflicts from the 1960s to the present have been fought primarily with AKMs and variants. It earned a reputation as the rifle that won revolutions. The AK-74's combat record began in Afghanistan from 1979 to 1989. It was the Soviet standard rifle throughout the war. Performance reviews from troops were mixed. Accuracy was praised consistently. Penetration was questioned, particularly through mud walls and vegetation. The rifle itself never failed. Reliability was never an issue. The concerns were about terminal ballistics, not the weapon's function. Chechnya from 1994 to 2009 became an urban combat testing ground. The AK-74M, the modernized variant, performed adequately. Some units requested AKMs specifically for barrier penetration in urban fighting. The heavier 7.62mm round penetrated walls and vehicles better. Overall performance was satisfactory, but the specific advantages of 5.45mm were less relevant in close-quarters urban combat. Modern conflicts in Syria and Ukraine from the 2010s to present show Russian forces using the AK-74M as standard. It has been effective under modern combat conditions. No reliability issues have been reported. The rifle works. Ammunition and logistics create practical constraints. The 7.62 by 39mm cartridge used by the AKM is globally available. Billions of rounds are stockpiled worldwide. Over 40 countries produce it. The civilian market has extremely common availability. Visually, the rifles are similar but distinguishable once you know what to look for. The magazine is the easiest tell. The AKM uses a steel magazine with a pronounced curve, the classic banana magazine. The AK-74 uses orange or plum bakelite magazines in early production with less curve. Later production used black polymer. The color and curve difference is a dead giveaway. The muzzle device is the most obvious difference. The AKM has a slant compensator, an angled cut at the muzzle. The AK-74 has a large cage break that looks like a bird cage. Once you've seen both, you'll never confuse them. Furniture varies. The AKM typically has wood or brown polymer furniture. The AK-74 has laminated wood in early production and plum or black polymer in later production. The overall silhouette is unmistakably Kalashnikov. Both rifles look like AKs. The details are subtle but distinctive. Global adoption tells the story of two different paths. The AKM spread globally. Over 100 million have been produced across all variants. Over 100 countries use it. Copies include the Chinese Type 56, Romanian PM MD63, and dozens of others. Millions are in civilian hands worldwide. It's the default assault rifle in most of the world. The AK-74's adoption was limited. The Soviet Union and Russia adopted it fully. Warsaw Pact countries like Bulgaria and East Germany adopted it before 1990. Exports were limited mainly to former Soviet states. Modern users include Belarus, Ukraine before 2014, and some Central Asian states. Why is the AKM more popular globally? Earlier introduction gave it a 20-year head start. Ammunition availability means 7.62 by 39 millimeters is everywhere. Established supply chains are hard to displace. Inertia matters. Once a military adopts a caliber, changing is expensive and complicated. Modernization paths show continued development of both platforms. The AKM evolved into the AK-103, a modern 7.62 by 39 millimeter variant with tactical rails and polymer furniture. It continues to be exported to nations wanting the traditional caliber. The philosophy is updating the classic design. The AK-74 evolved into the AK-74M in 1991, with side rail for optics and polymer furniture. The AK-12, introduced in 2018, is the latest Russian service rifle and still uses 5.45 by 39 millimeters. Russia's commitment to the smaller caliber continues. Modern features include modularity and optics-ready design. Strengths and weaknesses reveal why both rifles remain relevant. The AKM excels at barrier penetration. The heavier bullet punches through walls, cars, and foliage better, and ammunition is globally available anywhere. The stopping power reputation creates psychological confidence in troops. Ammunition is cheaper. The rifle is proven in every environment over 60 years. The AKM's weaknesses are heavy recoil, making full auto mostly unusable. Accuracy drops beyond 300 meters. Soldiers carry less ammunition due to weight. Bullet drop is significant at range, making range estimation critical. The AK-74's strengths are better accuracy, achieving 2 to 4 minutes at angle versus 4 to 6 for the AKM. Full automatic fire is controllable and actually usable. Trajectory is flatter, making aiming easier at distance. Soldiers can carry 50% more ammunition for the same weight. Effective range extends to 400 to 500 meters. The AK-74's weaknesses are worse barrier penetration. The lighter bullet deflects more easily through foliage and walls. Ammunition availability is limited globally. Ammunition is more expensive. There's a perception that it lacks punch, which affects troop psychology even if ballistics don't support this. Which is actually better? It depends entirely on the situation. Choose the AKM if you're operating in jungle or urban environments where barriers matter. Choose it for global conflict where ammunition availability is critical. Choose it if budget matters, because ammunition is cheaper long-term. Choose it if psychological factors matter and troops want a big bullet. Choose the AK-74 if you're fighting in open terrain like Afghanistan or the steppes. Choose it if you're a modern military with logistics that guarantee ammunition supply. Choose it if you have trained troops who can exploit the accuracy advantage. Choose it for extended operations where carrying more ammunition matters. The irony is perfect. The Soviets replaced the AKM with the better AK-74 for their specific needs. The world kept using the AKM. Both are still in service over 50 years later. Neither is actually better. They're just different tools optimized for different situations. Here's what matters. The AKM represents the perfection of 1950s Soviet design philosophy: ruggedness, simplicity, stopping power. It does exactly what it was designed to do and does it better than almost anything else. Over 100 million produced proves it works. The AK-74 represents the evolution of that philosophy. It maintains the ruggedness and simplicity, but adds accuracy and controllability for modern warfare. It does what the Soviet military needed in 1974 and what Russia needs today. 50 years of service proves it works. The debate over which is better misses the point. The AK-74 is better for trained military forces fighting at extended ranges in open terrain with guaranteed logistics. The AKM is better for asymmetric warfare, jungle combat, urban fighting, and situations where ammunition availability matters more than precision. Both rifles descended from Mikhail Kalashnikov's original AK-47 design. Both prove that simple, reliable, and effective beats complex and sophisticated. Both have fought in more conflicts than any other rifles in history. Both will continue serving for decades.